Hello and welcome to SteveKnows. Today I'm going to share my first impressions of the Quest Pro headset, as I was lucky enough to be part of a select few people to try this out early. I will also do a live stream Q&A on this on Wednesday as well, if you're around, so please join that if you have any questions that I don't answer here. This headset has just been revealed at the Meta Connect event, but this video was made beforehand, so apologies if there's anything missing in this, but this video is absolutely packed. I do have some opinions on this, but this is a first impressions, and I will do a full review once the headset is finally released. So let's check out the Quest Pro, and I would appreciate a subscribe, as this video was a lot of commitment to get this together, and it would be greatly appreciated. So enough chin wagging, let's get started. So after getting up at 4 AM to travel through the dark like a zombie and jump on a train for a 3-hour journey, stopping for a coffee and of course a bathroom break, and patiently waiting at the Meta headquarters to be herded into a conference room for a very intimate talk about the device and a Q&A session, it became very apparent that the push for this device was not aimed at the VR gaming market, even though we already knew that. They kept saying this, and we helped lift this sector. There was a huge focus on business, but not corporate enterprise, but smaller creative businesses that are interested in new ways to create and work remotely. So this is the box, the packaging, and it's a bit like the Quest 2. They've kept the same theme, so there's not much of interest there. But this is everything that you'll get inside the box, and I will expand on these as I go through the video. So you do have a docking station, and a 2-meter USB-C to USB-C cable for the dock power supply, a separate USB charging point that seems to be for the controllers if you're not using the dock. You also have the controllers, of course, with an Oculus logo, which is pretty cool. Some wrist straps, some rubber nibs that act as a stylus for the controller, the headset itself, some partial inserts for light blocking that connect via a magnet, and a cover for the front panel of the device to make sure that you can get any scratches and you're looking nice and professional when wearing it. So moving on to the specs that I was told at this point, with some very corporate dancing around some certain questions, so I don't have every specific detail, but I will post them down below in the description if Meta announce more at the event. So this headset, as we already knew, has done away with the Fresnel lenses in favour of Pancake optics that have allowed for a 40% thinner optic stack, helping reduce the form factor of this headset, and it also allows for an increased field of view. So they have said this is 106 degrees horizontal and 96 vertical, which is not a huge upgrade, but it is a little upgrade still, and you could see the difference using the device thanks to these lovely lenses. They've also said that these Pancake lenses provide a 37% increase in perceived pixel density, so the visuals should be clearer on this device. It feels like a workaround because the resolution of this headset remains 1920 by 1832 per eye, which is the same as the Quest 2. And I must admit, hearing that, it did upset me, especially when a £380 device, the Pico 4, which also has Pancake lenses, but it also has a higher resolution display. The display of the Pro is also limited to 90Hz, so unlike the Quest 2 that can hit 120, this is locked down and will not activate 120 at a later date. It is stuck at 72 or 90Hz options. I kind of find that baffling that there was this backtrack on a premium device. The display remains an LCD panel, but it contains 2 of them this time, 1 per eye, and it's also backlit by mini LEDs, which reduce the light bleed and provide 75% better contrasting. So colors do pop and the blacks look much darker rather than that grey haze that we see on the Quest 2 due to the way that the LCD panel is backlit. There is definitely a noticeable difference. When I was playing Horizon Workrooms, I was in this beach environment and it was incredibly vibrant. Stuff was popping. But unfortunately, as far as I know, this is not HDR supported. The device is also using a Gen 1 XR2 chip to operate it, but it has better cooling and RAM placement, so it's been able to be clocked, and they said it can produce 50% more power, although other reports have stated a 30% increase. They have coined this Snapdragon XR2 the XR2 Plus. The device will contain 12GB of RAM, and it looks to be only a single model with 256GB of storage, and I thought at least for a professional device we would have 512, but there's only a single model with 256. The additional overhead of that chip is now going to be useful, since this headset does contain eye and face tracking capabilities, but this feature was actually incredible. I got to fiddle around with it being an alien creature, where you had the ability to adjust the intensity of your expression, and it just had me in hysterics. Like a small grin became the expression of sadistic excitement. I was able to wink, raise my eyebrows, even blow out my cheeks. I have no doubt people will enjoy this aspect of the device. It was incredibly impressive. I also got to experience this in Horizon Workrooms, and and it changed the feeling of presence massively. Being able to see the facial expressions of the person that I was working with or where they were looking, I would say is a definite game changer. It's just unfortunate that you're going to need people to use this headset so they have this feature for us to enjoy, because if you're playing with someone or working with someone on a Quest 2, they're going to be poker facing. If you're worried about privacy here though, they did address saying that the data collected from these tracking features is stored as temporary files on the headset, so it's local only and then deleted after use. The features are also turned off by default once you've got the device, so if you want to use them, you'll have to enable them. The headset battery now, this is where I was lost for words. They have said this is 1 to 2 hours of usage. And it's also where I became confused about who is this device for, because they've been pushing for enterprise, but if you work 8 hours a day, so this is not designed for a day's work, and it's also not designed for regular use because it does not support fast charging. So it takes just as long to charge as it does to use, so 2 hours of usage, 2 hours of charging. They didn't provide me with the exact milliamp hour value, but my assumption is that it's not much greater than the Quest, but does require additional battery power due to it using Pancake Lenses, which require additional brightness, and also the additional processing power is going to suck some more out of that battery as well. So you are losing playtime with this device. But they did say it can be used whilst being plugged in. So if you've got a long enough USB-C cable, you can play with it plugged in. But we don't want that, we want wireless VR. So one of the biggest features of this headset is the color pass-through in 3D. Not like the Pico 4, which has a single 16 megapixel camera, so you don't have that stereoscopic view and it's a little bit disorientating and it's not optimized for mixed reality content. This was much more practical. So on the day, every experience that I tried was a mixed reality experience, and the resolution of these visuals are 4 times higher than the current Quest grayscale, but they didn't give an exact resolution of the output. And it also suffered from the same slight warping issue that you have around your hands when moving around, which must be an issue with the algorithm in translating the camera feeds into a viewable color video. But the experiences themselves and seeing the anchoring of virtual assets showed such incredible potential and practical use cases. Like Horizon Workrooms, I was at a desk in pass-through mode with 3 large monitors that were being emulated. So I had a single laptop in front of me with one screen, nothing else, just an empty desk. And I ended up having the most abundant workstation available. So I had 3 huge monitors, I had a whiteboard, I had sticky notes that I could just put up around the place. And I can see that being very useful for day-to-day work, but because of the battery life, you obviously can't enjoy it for that long. Also, the color pass-through, the visuals were not as high definition as I was expecting, but I was in a dark room with hue lighting just to make it look all fancy during the event, and I know lighting has great effects on the quality of video feeds and camera input, so we'll have to try that again in a well-lit setting to have a final answer on how good that pass-through visual is actually. Some great news though, the device does support Wi-Fi 6E, which is great for wireless PC VR gaming because we get higher bandwidths and a 6 GHz frequency range, which would reduce the latency to and from the router, which would enable higher resolution output and frame rates with playable latency. Because network latency seems to be the biggest strain on wireless PC VR at the moment if you're using the Quest 2 or a Pico headset when you look at the stats, especially when you're increasing the quality of the output. Although this feature is not going to be available at launch, they said this should be enabled early 2023, and what could that mean? Could that mean 6 months? 3 months? The headset also has a 3 microphone array with a 20% improvement on background noise cancellation, which is an upgrade because the Quest 2 is a dual mic setup, and let's be honest, the mic on it is not great. The audio system of this headset has also been upgraded as well
to be able to produce an octave lower in the lower regions for a bassier sound.
And I was able to experience this, and it was so much better than the Quest 2, where they were pushing Tribe XR, and I was learning how to be a disc jockey in mixed reality. So I had a DJ deck in front of me, a Pioneer one, whilst in my real world environment using the color pass-through. And that was pretty cool. I hope to see this used in like a club one day or a festival. I think that would be a pretty novel idea. As this device is aimed at professionals, the sound leakage has been reduced by 10 decibels. So if you're having a conversation or a meeting, or you're playing late at night, people should be able to hear less of what's going on inside your headset. Some great news now around the granular control over the IPD. It no longer has a tiered system like on the Quest 2, and it also has a larger IPD range, ranging from 55mm to 75mm. Now it should be able to cater for so many more people. And as well as having more granular control over the IPD, you also have control over its depth. So you can move the lenses closer or further away from your face, which will make people with glasses able to use this device without swapping out an interface. But I found myself bringing the lenses as close as possible to my face for the best immersion and the best field of view. What's interesting and sad about this device though is it does not come with a facial interface, or at least a full face interface. That will come as a separate purchase for $50, which is painful for us gamers. Add $50 to the price of this device if you want to game in the most immersive way. So it's designed to be used openly, combining mixed reality and the real world. And this is to reduce the effects of motion sickness for people who are new to VR, and also keep you grounded in the real world whilst working. And I did actually enjoy this feature when I was using this for productivity, and it was impressive to see how well aligned the virtual pass-through was to the real world. So I would follow my arm in my peripheral into the virtual space, and it was seamless. So that aspect is actually really impressive, and I do see a use case for this, but I still don't see that as an excuse to not provide an interface here. Because if you want to game with this headset, you need to buy another insert, otherwise it's just going to be so much light bleed. But it does come with these blinders so you can block out the sides of your view, which do attach via a magnet, so it's easy to put on and pull off, and it's a silicone attachment, so it does not apply any pressure to the face and you do not get sweaty when using it. And talking about pressure on the face, this comes with a halo strap, which is attached. So if it breaks, I'm not sure what you're going to do. You can't buy another head strap for this device, but it did feel more robust than the Elite strap, so hopefully that does not happen. So the head strap does have a cushion at the back of the device and a twisty knob to tighten it. The back of this head strap is where the battery lives, so it does act as a counterweight on the device, helping with its form factor and weight distribution. But the front part, instead of having a halo strap like the PlayStation VR, which covers your entire forehead, it almost has a lip. And I think this design decision was done because of the eye and face tracking features. It wants to look at your eyebrows, your face, and your eyes, and in order to do that, it can't have something that completely covers your eyebrows, can it? And because of this new head strap design, it won't ruin your hair whilst using the device, and your cheeks will thank you as there's no longer any pressure on them. So the comfort here is a massive improvement in terms of the distribution, how it feels, and the actual weight of the device being 722 grams in total, but the distribution disperses that so it doesn't feel that heavy. So this is definitely heavier than the Pico 4, but it is a definite improvement over the Quest 2. Unfortunately though, this does still leave a red mark. You'll have a nice red bump on your forehead where that lip is taking a lot of the pressure, so it doesn't sit upon your face. So no cheek pain, but your forehead still may have a little red mark if you're using this for 2 hours straight. The headset also has a feature called Fit Finder. This will give you feedback on how the headset is sitting on your head, so you know whether or not the headset is actually on properly. Although I found where I thought it was comfortable, the headset was telling me, no, you need to move it, adjust it, and I thought, no, this is exactly where I want it to be, but maybe my face is strange, who knows. There are also new controllers for this device that provide a full 360 60OF tracking, which is a huge upgrade, bringing the inside-out tracking solution closer to the base station capabilities. The controller has 3 cameras on it, oh, and the Oculus logo, isn't that nice? And maybe in future, full body tracking as well, based on the university research that we saw a while ago, but that would be a while off. So these controllers do actually contain a chipset, a Snapdragon 662, which handles the processing of its 3 SLAM cameras. And because of this, expect the battery life of the controllers to drop massively. The Quest 2 had such great battery life, but this is definitely a step back. They said you can expect it to last as long as the headset does, which is probably why they supplied a dock, because you need to charge this device constantly. The controllers also come with a little nib that you can swap out from the wrist strap. This is a rubber stylus, so it allows you to write on the whiteboard or write notes whilst working in the Workrooms app or any other productivity app, and it makes this much easier to write, so it no longer looks like a 4-year-old trying to write its first sentence. The haptics in the remote have also been upgraded with their termed True Touch haptics that include localized and VCM haptic upgrades. These controllers, as I have been saying on the channel for a while now, have now been confirmed to be available for the Quest 2 as an additional accessory purchase for a whopping £300. So the same price as the Quest 2 was last year. So you do need to ask yourself, how badly do you want 360 tracking support and some better controller haptics? I do find it hard to think it's worth the upgrade, but if money is no object for you and you want a better VR experience, maybe you're into your first-person shooters, this will give you a better competitive edge when bringing the remote closer to your face, or grabbing things that are outside the headset view. There are some additional accessories as well that will be available, such as a carry case for $120. There's also a compact charger as well, which is a smaller dock for the controllers, and a USB cable for the headset, which is $80. There are also some headphones, so there are audio jacks on this headset, that will be $50, and the full light blocker insert for another $50. So this headset in total is $1,500, £1,500, 1,800 euros, which is so steep. Plus all of the accessories, if you want the full kit, you're looking at $1,800, nearly 2,000 euros. And this will be released in 22 countries, ready to be shipped on the 25th of October. That price for me though, it hit me hard due to the battery life limitations, no full facial insert, not a next gen chipset, no improvements on resolution, and the displays can run at 90, not 120 Hz. I do look forward to be able to do a full review on this for virtual reality experiences and PCVR experiences, because everything I tried was a mixed reality productivity application. But overall, this device, it was pretty cool. To be able to try the face tracking and the eye tracking, that was fantastic. The comfort is improved, the Pancake optics, the Wi-Fi 6E support, 360 controller tracking, and a better backlit solution of the display for better colors and darker blacks. The headset felt premium as well. So there are some benefits here, but that is a steep price point. But I will hold off on definitive opinions until the full review is out, which I will drop on its release day. And please stick around for the Q&A, which I should be doing tomorrow. So thank you guys for watching and supporting the channel. I would appreciate a like and a subscribe. I hope you have a great week. I hope I've answered your questions. Happy gaming, guys. Good day!